On this episode, we talk about A teams versus B teams, people stealing your money at soccer camps, and your kid kicking the ball against your house. What's up, everybody? My name is Ray Sanders, and this is episode number 4 of Coach Knows Best. So, are you going to stop it? What's going on, Caesar? Let's just keep it rolling, man. We ain't got time for this today. Wearing the Barcelona shirt. We are in full support. I am supporting Barcelona today. Caesar showing me his, what would that be? His screenshot of some Juventus logo. They tied today 0-0. It's the worst score in soccer, in my opinion. 0-0 is super boring, but nevertheless, both teams advance in Champions League. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Caesar, what do you guys eat tamales or turkey?
No, my family left to Mexico, so I'm home alone.
You're home alone?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come over tomorrow?
No.
Oh, but we don't have tamales, though.
And that's why.
All right, sweet. All right, anyways, let's get into the show. Let's rock and roll.
My son currently plays on the A team, but doesn't get enough playing time. Should we move him to the B team or stay on the A team?
So cool. So I really like this question. One of the reasons why I like this question is I feel I basically have two stories that kind of back up my thesis as it pertains to this. So one of the things, I think that there's a lot of variables to take into consideration. I know the dad who asked this question actually within our club. And so the reason why I like this question is because I think that we can have some different examples that would help us frame this a little bit better. So what do I mean? We've had parents over the years that have said things like, I know my kid doesn't get a lot of playing time on the A team, but I want him to stay there, or I want her to stay there because I want him to play with better players. I don't care how much playing time they get. I don't want to move down to the B team. One of the things that I feel that has kind of separated us, or one of the criticisms I have, especially of, let's say, like the local Hispanic leagues, is that from top to bottom, your good players and your bottom players, there's too big of a gap. And so, or you'll have these teams that'll go to tournaments and they're winning games 8-0, 9-0, and they feel good about themselves, or they're going to games and they're losing, or tournaments and they're losing games 8-0, 9-0. So the problem within both of those scenarios, the problem within the top to bottom scenario, is you're lacking proper placement. You need proper placement for proper development. If you only take one thing from this video, proper placement will equal to better and more proper development. So you have to have that type of mindset. So within this particular scenario, I would first analyze how long have you been on the team. So if you've been on the team for 2-3 years and your kid's only playing 25% of the game, it's probably time for them to move on to the other team and to get some more playing time. If your kid's only been there for 6 months, maybe that's a little bit different because if they've only been there for 6 months, maybe they're still learning and they're progressing and they'll break through. And that's where I think playing with better players, being challenged by those players is actually good. If we use the scale analogy, I think that if you're a 2 and your logic is I'm going to play with players that are 8s and 9s, I think it's too big of a gap. If you're a 4 and you're playing with 5s and 6s, I don't necessarily think that it's bad that you're only getting 25% because that is an obtainable type of a role, but depending upon the dynamics of the team, right? So using similar lines of logic, like within the education system or maybe like in instruments or things of that nature, we would never expect a person to be in like the advanced piano class and say, well, I'm going to put them in the advanced piano class even though they just learned how to play a little bit of the piano, like they play hot cross buns on the piano, and I'm going to put them in the advanced piano class, and they'll just learn by default. Or my kid's barely learning algebra, and we're going to put them in calculus. Those types of scenarios, obviously that sounds ridiculous. Yet a kid that is just significantly behind as it pertains to playing on an A team, and the logic that we're going to put them with those kids in order to make them better, even though it's just worlds apart, it is similar logic as far as the calculus or the piano example. So 2 quick stories with that I think that are really applicable within this situation. One was my own personal playing career. At the end, I played on a club team that was really good. We were one of the best club teams in the country. We had a regular rival that we played against all the time. Both of these teams were based out of LA. I'm spitting all over the place. And so we always played each other in the finals of all these tournaments, and my team won 90% of the time. 2 local guys from Bakersfield also played on the team that we beat all the time. So at school, different gatherings, I was always talking schmack on them. However, both of those guys played every single minute of the game, I was a role player at the best, and I played 25% at the most of those games. Those two guys were probably better players than me. They definitely got recruited. The one went to UCLA, the other one went to UConn. I did not. And so at the end of the day, the point is that when I was like 23, I remember looking back and being like, dude, these medals don't mean anything now. I wish I would have played a different role on a team that lost but played at a high level. The other example of this is even my own personal son within our own club. He currently plays on the B team within our club. He can sit the bench on the A team. And I was the one that kind of approached the coach and was like, look, man, if you guys want to keep him, it's cool. My perspective is that he needs to move down. So with all my soccer nonsense and the coach knows best jargon and all this stuff, I personally moved my kid down to the B team because I just thought that was in the best interest of his development. He's a 2008, so he's super young. So I just think that within all of these things that I just said, that should help frame the overall picture a little bit better on the best decision of what it is that you should make for your kid. What role do they play on the team? How long have they been there? Are they actually getting better? Your thesis of let's play him with better players and he's going to get better, is that actually working? And if it's not, let go of your ego. Who cares if he's playing on a B team or a C team? We've had C team players at U12 that have eventually gone on and played in college. So let go of all that. Properly place your kid so he could take his next step or whatever it may be and keep progressing.
What do you think about soccer camps?
So my perspective on soccer camps is that it's really broad. I think that there's two different types of camps that are out there. You have what I classify as babysitting camps, and you have actual soccer camps. I think that both of them serve a purpose. I just personally would never spend money for a babysitting camp. What I like about camps first, and in general statement, what I really like about camps is that if you're doing a camp for 4 days, 5 days, I think that your probability of getting better, if there's 5 sessions in 5 days in a row, I think that you're going to end up better than if over the course of 5 weeks you did 1 session a week. And because I just think that concentration will ultimately result in a player being much better. So I'm a big advocate of camps in that sense, in that respect, versus like long-term private training if all things are equal. Now, that being said, I think that there's camps out there that you have coaches that are just trying to make a quick buck. They're manipulating parents or money. I think that there's different organizations, colleges, whatever it may be, that are out there that really are just making a bunch of money for their college players. It's a babysitting camp. And look, I run camps pretty much every summer. I had a mom about 5 years ago that she brought her kid to another camp because she literally said that's why I got the term, I need a babysitter and your camp isn't long enough. So she paid more money for an inferior camp because she works and summer school is over. So I have no problem with that as long as you know what it is that you're getting. I think 12-year-olds that go to UCLA's camp at the hope that some coach is going to watch them and like them long term, I think is a big waste of money, to be perfectly honest. But there's a lot of good camps that are out there, even expensive ones. I think that in general I support them, but you've got to really do your research. And is it worth the money? And so I think that there are some things that are out there in our community that are a good bang for your buck. So I do promote them.
What are some things my kid can do at home to get better?
So I want to do a whole entire episode on this, so I'll make this really quick as far as this particular answer. I think immediately there are a lot of things that you could do at home. One of the big ones is juggling. I think that the incentive and the challenge of just juggling and it's measurable in terms of progress and on, that's a big one. That I would recommend doing. And it doesn't matter how much they can juggle, whether it be 5 or even 100, it's just trying to beat your number. And so whether it be a timed situation, so you go in your backyard and you're just going to juggle for 15, 20 minutes, or they could go out into their backyard and say, as soon as I juggle to, let's say 20, which is a realistic number maybe for that particular kid, they're going to juggle to 20, and as soon as they get 20, they're done and they get to go inside. And then maybe if they always do that and 20 is becoming real easy, now the new number is 30. Or if 20 is way too hard, then you make the number 5. So there's a lot of different variables within that, but that's easy, it's clear, top of your laces, those types of concepts. Don't use your thigh too much, blah, blah, blah. Other thing really quick would be kicking the ball against a wall. And I know that people don't want their kid to kick a ball against their house, but I would also kick a ball against their wall. that's a good opportunity to be able to work on your first touch, work on your passing, work on your shooting, work on your opposite foot, and it's just quick. You could get an abundance of touches in a course of, or in a time of 15 to 20 minutes. Those are two things that are super quick, really rapid fire that I can answer. Like I said, another episode I'm probably going to dedicate on just what it is that you're doing off of the soccer field in terms of training and all this stuff. But that's a quick little generic answer for what kids could do during the break or on the off season. Is it running? Sweet. So that's the end. Caesar just dropped his phone. He's freaking out. So we'll make it quick so that we can figure out whether or not his phone broke. I really, really appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully you guys are actually watching the full episode. I know that you're probably not, but for the 7 of you that are, I really appreciate you. I appreciate Caesar. I hope that everybody is very thankful for the things and the blessings that they have in their lives. God is good. He's shown us a lot of grace, and I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. For everybody that's traveling, you're probably going to see this maybe a little bit later or after, but safe travels. Until next time, I'm Ray Sanders. Don't forget to submit your questions to ray7sanders@gmail.com. That's Ray7Sanders like the Colonel @amag.com, and I really appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.